The midterms are not over yet. We still have a lot of votes to count, and a lot of races are still up in the air. But it seems unfortunate that the Republican Party may actually wrest control of the House and the Senate, or even both. But we also have the Georgia Senate runoff between Senator Warnock, and of course that idiot Herschel Walker. Now, that being said, this was not a red wave. They didn't flip a whole lot of states from blue to red. They probably flipped one state in the Senate from blue to red. Anyway, I digress. It's not over yet. We're still counting. However, for Donald Trump, he has to do what he does, lie, blubber, and all that blah blah blah, yak yak yak. And it got to the fever point on Truth Social. He posted this not too long ago as I made this video. Now that the midterms are over and the success, no they weren't, News Corp, which is Fox, Wall Street Journal, and the no longer great New York Post bring back Cole, whatever the hell it is, COL, whatever that is, anyway, is all in for Governor Ron DeSantis, an average Republican governor with great public relations who didn't have to close up his state, but did, unlike Republican governors whose overall numbers for a Republican were just average, middle of the pack, including COVID, and who has the average of sunshine, the advantage of sunshine, forgive me, I'm sorry, where people from badly run states up north would go, no matter who the governor was, just like I did. What? Ron came to me in desperate shape in 2017. He was politically dead, losing in a landslide to a very good agricultural commissioner, Putnam, who was loaded up with cash and great poll numbers. Ron had a low approval and bad polls and no money, but he said that I would endorse him. He could win. I didn't know so I said, let's give Ron a try. Give it a shot, Ron. When I endorsed him, it was as though I was to use a bad term, a nuclear weapon went off. Years later, they were the exact words that Putnam used in describing Ron's endorsement. He said, and I quote, "I went from having it made with no competition to immediately getting absolutely clobbered after your endorsement," unquote. I then got Ron by the star of the Democratic Party, Andrew Gillum, who was later revealed to be a crackhead. I don't think that's true, but by having two massive rallies with tens of thousands of people at each one. I also fixed this campaign, which had completely fallen apart. I was all in for Ron, and he beat Gillum, but after the race, when votes were being stolen by the corrupt election process in Broward County, and Ron was going down by the tens of thousands of votes a day, along with the now Senator Rick Scott, I sent the FBI and the U.S. attorneys, and the ballot theft immediately ended. Just prior to them running out of the votes necessary to win. I think you're full of shit, Trump, but let's go forward. I stopped his election from being stolen, and now Ron DeSantis is playing games. Wow. You are a fucking child, aren't you, Trump? Continuing, the fake news asked him if he's going to run if President Trump runs. And he says, I'm only focused on the governor's race. I'm not looking into the future. When in terms of loyalty and class, that's really not the right answer. Just like the 2015 and 2016, the immediate assault, collusion, when the Fox News fought me to the very end until I won, and they couldn't have been nicer or more supportive. The Wall Street Journal loved low energy Jeb Bush and the succession of other people that, as they rapidly disappeared from sight, finally falling in line with me after I easily knocked them out, one by one. We're exactly the same position now. They will keep coming after us, MAGA, but ultimately we will win. Put America first and make America great again. I'm sorry for putting you all through that. I'm sorry for putting myself through that shit. Seriously, Trump? Seriously. The midterms were a success? Explain to me how the midterms were a success for you, Trump. A lot of your Republican-backed, the MAGA-backed candidates didn't win their races. There wasn't a red wave. And as for DeSantis, he got 1.5 million votes, the biggest margin of victory for any Florida governor. Honestly, are you seriously? Are you? Oh, God. Anyway, there was no red wave. You lost 4 state houses. You lost 4 governorships. I think you were only managed to flip 1 state, and you lost another. At this point, let me put it that way. Pennsylvania. You failed to flip Pennsylvania with your boy in the Sid Melman Oz. And now this Ron the sanctimonious crap. Let's get it straight right now. I'm not defending you, DeSantis. You are nothing more than a damn fascist scumbag. You are a scumbag who declared war on his own people, on a corporation that helps your state get millions, if not billions of dollars almost every year. Because they said that your Don't Say Gay law was a bunch of crap. So I'm not defending you, DeSantis. But the fact is, seriously, Trump? Seriously? Seriously. I hope to God he says he's going to run for president against you for the Republican ticket. Because that in itself will split the Republican Party down the middle. And while you're infighting, the Democrats will do the job of fixing this country as we have in the past. But here's the joke to all of this. When asked about DeSantis' chances of going for president, this idiot decides to go off on a tangent to the New York Times, saying if he runs, and I quoting Donald Trump, if he runs, he runs. If he did, I will tell you things about him that you will be very, very flattering about. I know more about him than anybody, even his own wife, who is really running his campaign. So if DeSantis runs for the Republican ticket to become nomination for president, you're going to reveal everything about Trump, about him? Do it. I hope to God you do it anyway, you idiot. Because this only shows that this man, Donald Trump, is incredibly desperate. He's desperate because the Republican Party sees him for the fraud that he is. That revelation should have came years later. It should have came during his presidency. But now we got Republicans out there who are or used to serve in Congress and whatnot, who are going off against Trump. You got Paul Ryan, a Trump sycophant and scumbag, saying that and I quote, I think Donald Trump gives us problems politically. We lost the House, we lost the Senate, and the White House in 2 years when Trump was on the ballot or in office. You're absolutely right, Brian. He did. It's just too bad you jackass Republicans didn't see him for the problem he was. Not to mention the fact that it wasn't a political problem. It was a country problem. You didn't see it during COVID while his chief of staff was saying that we were going to control COVID, that he would let the virus run roughshod all across this country. You didn't say you were defending him after January 6th, but you're going to stand there right now, Paul, and say he's a problem, and he's not the only one. Miss Lindsey Graham, who decided to go on Fox News with that chicken gizzard voice of his, trying to sound all nice and sovereignly and everything, saying this is a Republican wave. That's for darn sure. You're darn right it wasn't. Because the man that endorsed the Republican Party, the public face of the Republican Party right now is Donald Trump. And he's already shown you his intentions. We can't win by winning by votes. He has to resort to blackmail when it comes to Ron DeSantis. And again, frankly, I like Ron DeSantis to run against Donald Trump for the Republican ticket, because that will split the Republican Party in half, and it will tear them apart. I personally hope that happens. Because quite honestly, after everything the Republican Party has put us through for the last 20 years, that it just got 10 times worse over the last 6 years, the danger that they represent to our constitutional republic can't be over quantified. And as for Donald Trump's little brain breakdown on Truth Social, this is the man you want as president? A man who has to lie about everything? My advice to you, the Republican Party, get rid of Donald Trump. And if you do get rid of Trump, get rid of DeSantis, because they're both of them are just weighing them down. Quite honestly, it's got to stop. Donald Trump needs to disappear into obscurity, into oblivion now. And again, the Republicans might actually get the House or the Senate or both, but getting the stink of Donald Trump off of you is the only way your party is going to survive. Because right now, your party is on life support. And quite honestly, I'm not sure it's going to survive much longer. And as for your breakdown, Trump, grow the hell up, boy. Right now, you are acting like a boy, trying to prove himself a man. And quite honestly, every time you try to prove you're a man, you just prove yourself more to be a boy. Frankly, people might find that amusing. I personally find it very, very pathetic. You're pathetic, Trump. And honestly, it's only a matter of time before you go the way of the dodo. And when you're gone, no one's going to look at the textbook, the science textbook or history textbook and say, those poor creatures, they were so beautiful. They're going to look at you, Trump, and say, how in the world did you live this long without putting a bullet through your own head? How did you live this long knowing that you won't be able to function without the three things that really matter to you? Money, power, and pussy. Because that's all you care about, Trump. That's all you ever cared about. And you have shown us through your entire life that that's all you'll ever care about. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.